Hey there guys, this is Richard, your host, with another marvelous video. A Quiet Place Day 1 is the latest installment in the spine-chilling franchise that's kept us on the edge of our seats, or rather, tiptoeing around our living rooms. Directed by Marko Sarnowski, this prequel takes us back to the very beginning of the alien invasion that turned the world into a silent nightmare. But does it live up to the high standards set by its predecessors? First off, let's address the elephant in the room, or rather the alien in the room. Many users on Rotten Tomatoes were quick to point out that A Quiet Place Day 1 doesn't quite capture the same magic as the original. User Silent Bob 123 lamented, "It's like they took everything that was great about the first movie and threw it out the window. Where's the tension? Where's the heart?" Ouch, Bob. That's a tough pill to swallow. But let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater just yet. On the flip side, some users found the prequel to be a refreshing take on the franchise. MovieBuff89 on IMDb praised the film for its world building, saying, "I loved seeing how it all started. The chaos, the confusion. It was also raw and real. It added a whole new layer to the story." Well, Buff, you might be onto something there. The film does offer a gritty ground zero perspective that the original only hinted at. One of the most divisive aspects of A Quiet Place Day 1 seems to be its pacing. Fast and Furious fan on Rotten Tomatoes complained, "The movie drags in the middle." I found myself checking my watch more than once. Meanwhile, Slow Burn Lover on IMDb had a completely different take. The slow build-up was perfect. It gave us time to really feel the dread and hopelessness of the situation. Clearly, one person's snail's pace is another's masterful tension building. Let's talk about the characters for a moment. The film introduces us to a new set of survivors, led by the ever-talented Lupita Nyong'o. Starstruck 99 on Rotten Tomatoes couldn't get enough of her performance. Lupita is a force of nature. She brings so much depth and emotion to her role. I was rooting for her from start to finish. However, not everyone was as impressed. Cynical Sally on IMDb grumbled, "Her character felt underdeveloped. I wanted to know more about her backstory, but we barely got any details." Sally, it seems, was left wanting more. The supporting cast also received mixed reviews. Ensemble fan on Rotten Tomatoes appreciated the diverse group of characters, stating, "The ensemble cast was fantastic. Each character brought something unique to the table." On the other hand, Solo Act on IMDb felt differently. "There were too many characters to keep track of. I couldn't get invested in any of them because the movie kept jumping around." Well, it's a classic case of too many cooks in the kitchen, or in this case, too many survivors in the apocalypse. Now, let's address the horror elements. After all, this is a Quiet Place movie, and we expect to be scared out of our wits. Jump Scare Junkie on Rotten Tomatoes was left disappointed. The scares were too predictable. I saw every jump scare coming from a mile away. Meanwhile, Creepy Crawly on IMDb had a different experience. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. The tension was unbearable, and the creatures were terrifying. Yep, it seems that fear, much like beauty, is in the eye of the beholder. One thing that most users seem to agree on was the film's sound design. Audio Aficionado on Rotten Tomatoes raved, "The sound design is phenomenal. Every creak, every whisper, it all adds to the atmosphere." Similarly, Soundscape Lover on IMDb praised the film's use of silence. "The way they use silence to build tension is masterful. It makes every sound feel like a potential threat." It's clear that the franchise's signature use of sound remains a strong point. But let's not forget about the plot. Plot Hole Hunter on Rotten Tomatoes had a bone to pick. "There were so many plot holes. How did the aliens get here? Why are they so sensitive to sound? None of these questions were answered." Meanwhile, Story Seeker on IMDb appreciated the mystery. "I liked that they didn't explain everything. It made the aliens feel more mysterious and threatening." It seems that when it comes to plot details, you can't please everyone. As for the film's ending, it left some users feeling satisfied and others, well, not so much. Happy Ending fan on Rotten Tomatoes was pleased. The ending was, perfect. It tied everything together and set up the next movie beautifully. Conversely, Cliffhanger Hater on IMDb was less enthused. "The ending was a letdown. It felt rushed and left too many questions unanswered." Endings are always tricky, and it seems A Quiet Place Day 1 is no exception. In terms of visuals, the film received high marks across the board. Visual Vixen on Rotten Tomatoes gushed, "The cinematography is stunning. Every shot is beautifully composed." Cinephile 123 on IMDb echoed this sentiment. "The visuals are top-notch. The use of light and shadow is particularly impressive." Well, it seems that if nothing else, A Quiet Place Day 1 is a feast for the eyes. Of course, no movie is without its flaws, and A Quiet Place Day 1 is no exception. Nitpicker on Rotten Tomatoes pointed out, "Right, well, there were a few continuity errors that took me out of the movie." Meanwhile, Perfectionist on IMDb noted, "Some of the CGI was a bit wonky. It didn't ruin the movie, but it was noticeable." It's clear that even in a near-silent apocalypse, the devil is in the details. So, what what's the final marvelous verdict? Well, A Quiet Place Day 1 is a mixed bag. It has its moments of brilliance, particularly in its sound design and visuals, but it also has its fair share of shortcomings. The pacing, characters, and plot have all been points of contention among viewers. Some found the film to be a worthy addition to the franchise, while others felt that it fell short of the high bar set by the original. In the end, whether you enjoy A Quiet Place Day 1 may come down to your personal preferences. If you're a fan of slow burn horror with a focus on atmosphere and world building, you might find a lot to love here. But if you're looking for the same heart-pounding tension and emotional depth of the first film, well, you might be left wanting more. As Movie Lover 2024 on IMDb aptly put it, yeah, it's not perfect, but it's a solid entry in the franchise. Just don't go in expecting it to be exactly like the first one. And really, isn't that the best way to approach any sequel or prequel? With an open mind and a willingness to embrace the new while appreciating the old. So, grab your popcorn, turn down the lights, and prepare to tiptoe through A Quiet Place Day 1. Just remember to keep the volume low. You never know what might be listening.
And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.